See, education alone, however, doesn't explain Finland's miracle. What made the Finnish transformation unique was a parallel focus on character development and moral education. The Finns understood that knowledge without wisdom, intelligence without integrity, could be destructive rather than constructive. The temperance movement played a crucial role, recognizing that alcoholism was destroying families and communities. Finnish society launched one of the world's most successful anti-alcohol campaigns. But this wasn't achieved through prohibition or punishment. Instead, it was a grassroots movement that offered alternatives. Coffee houses instead of taverns, reading rooms instead of drinking halls, cultural societies instead of drinking clubs. The results were dramatic. Alcohol consumption plummeted. Crime rates fell to among the lowest in Europe. Domestic violence decreased significantly. Families that had been torn apart by alcoholism were reunited and rebuilt. The social transformation was so complete that foreign visitors often remarked on the extraordinary peacefulness and order of Finnish society. But the moral transformation went deeper than just temperance. Finnish society developed what Petrov called a culture of trust. Honesty became not just a virtue, but a national characteristic. Contracts were kept, promises were honored, and a person's word became their bond. Corruption, so common in many societies, became virtually unknown in Finland. One of the most revolutionary aspects of Finland's transformation was the role of women. While most of Europe still treated women as second-class citizens, Finland recognized that no society could reach its full potential while marginalizing half its population. Finland became the first European country to grant women full political rights in 1906. But this wasn't just a political gesture. It reflected a fundamental belief in human equality and potential. Women weren't just given rights. They were given responsibilities. They served in parliament, ran businesses, led educational institutions, and played crucial roles in social reform. Petrov was particularly impressed by Finnish women's organizations. These weren't social clubs for the elite, but powerful forces for social change. The Martha Organization, founded in 1899, taught practical skills while also promoting literacy, health, and civic engagement. Women's groups organized libraries, health clinics, and educational programs. They were instrumental in the temperance movement and in promoting child welfare. The impact on families was profound. As women became educated and empowered, they transformed their homes into centers of learning and culture. Children grew up seeing their mothers as intelligent, capable individuals, which shaped their own attitudes toward education and gender equality. The respect for women in Finnish society created a more balanced, harmonious social structure that benefited everyone. Another pillar of Finland's transformation was the cooperative movement. While other nations were torn between capitalism and socialism, Finland developed a third way, cooperative economics based on mutual aid and shared responsibility. The cooperative movement began with farmers who pooled their resources to purchase equipment and market their products. But it quickly expanded to include consumer cooperatives, credit unions, insurance companies, and even industrial enterprises. By the early 1900s, Finland had one of the world's most extensive cooperative networks. What made Finnish cooperatives unique was their democratic structure and educational mission. Every member had an equal vote regardless of their investment. Profits were shared based on participation, not capital. And crucially, cooperatives invested heavily in educating their members, not just about business, but about democracy, responsibility, and civic engagement. The S Group, which started as a small consumer cooperative, grew to become one of Finland's largest businesses while maintaining its cooperative principles. The Palervo Society promoted agricultural cooperation and education. Credit unions made capital available to ordinary people who had been excluded from traditional banking. The cooperative movement did more than economic development. It built social capital. People learned to work together, to trust each other, to solve problems collectively. It created a sense of ownership and responsibility that extended beyond business into all aspects of civic life. The Finnish transformation wasn't just about practical matters. It was deeply cultural. The Finns understood that a nation's strength lies in its cultural identity, its stories, its songs, its shared meanings and values. The publication of the Kalevala, Finland's national epic compiled by Elias Lönnrot, was a watershed moment. This collection of ancient folk poetry gave Finns a sense of their deep history and unique identity. It proved that Finnish culture was ancient, rich, and worthy of respect. The Kalevala became not just literature, but a source of national pride and inspiration. Music played a crucial role. Jean Sibelius, Finland's greatest composer, created works that expressed the Finnish spirit in universal language. His tone poem Finlandia became an unofficial national anthem, expressing both the struggle and the hope of the Finnish people. But music wasn't limited to concert halls. Singing societies sprouted across the country, bringing people together and building community bonds. Visual arts flourished as well. Artists like Akseli Gallen-Kalila painted scenes from the Kalevala and Finnish nature that helped define the national aesthetic. Architecture, led by figures like Elias Saarinen and later Alvar Aalto, created buildings that were both modern and distinctly Finnish. But culture wasn't just for elites. Workers' theaters, people's libraries, and community cultural centers made art accessible to everyone. The Finns believed that beauty, creativity, and cultural expression were human rights, not privileges. This democratization of culture created a more unified, purposeful society. While focusing on human development, Finland didn't neglect physical infrastructure. But even here, the approach was distinctive. Infrastructure was seen not as an end in itself, but as a means to human development. The library system exemplified this approach. Finland built one of the world's most extensive library networks, with libraries in even the smallest villages. But these weren't just repositories of books. They were community centers, meeting places, symbols of the democratization of knowledge. Lending rates were extraordinary. Finns became the world's most voracious readers. The postal system was similarly comprehensive. Mail delivery reached the most remote corners of the country, connecting isolated communities to the wider world. Newspapers, books, and letters circulated freely, creating an informed, connected citizenry. Transportation infrastructure was developed with social goals in mind. Railways and roads were built not just for economic efficiency, but to ensure that no community was left behind. Schools, health clinics, and cultural centers were strategically placed to be accessible to all. One of the most remarkable aspects of Finland's transformation was that it occurred without military conquest or imperial expansion. While other nations measured strength in armies and territories, Finland built its strength through human development. This approach was tested severely. The Winter War of 1939 to 1940, when Finland faced a Soviet invasion, proved that a small nation built on strong civic foundations could stand against a superpower. The Finnish resistance astonished the world, not just militarily but morally. Finnish soldiers fought with extraordinary determination, but they also maintained their humanity, treating prisoners well and protecting civilians. The source of this strength was the very transformation Petrov documented. Finnish soldiers weren't just defending territory. They were defending a way of life, values they deeply believed in, a society they had helped build. The social cohesion created through decades of cooperative effort translated into military effectiveness that surprised everyone, including the Finns themselves. What can we learn from Finland's transformation? Petrov identified several key principles that remain relevant today. First, invest in people, not just infrastructure. Finland proved that human capital is the ultimate resource. When you educate, empower, and inspire people, they can overcome any material disadvantage. Second, character matters as much as competence. Finland didn't just create smart people, it created good people. The focus on moral education, civic virtue, and personal responsibility created a high-trust society where progress accelerated. Third, inclusion accelerates development. By ensuring that everyone, regardless of class, gender, or region, had access to education and opportunity, Finland mobilized its entire human potential. No talent was wasted, no potential unrealized. Fourth, culture is not luxury, but necessity. Finland's investment in arts, literature, and cultural expression created meaning, identity, and social cohesion that made other achievements possible. Fifth, cooperation can be more powerful than competition. The cooperative movement showed that people working together for mutual benefit could achieve more than individuals competing against each other. Today's Finland consistently ranks among the world's happiest, most prosperous, and most innovative nations. The education system, evolved from those early foundations, is studied worldwide. Finnish design, technology, and culture have global influence far exceeding what might be expected from a nation of 5.5 million people. But perhaps Finland's greatest export is hope, proof that transformation is possible, that nations can rise from poverty to prosperity not through exploitation or conquest, but through developing their people. The story Petrov told over a century ago remains relevant because it addresses timeless questions. How do societies progress? What is the source of national strength? How can human potential be realized? The white lilies of Petrov's title symbolize purity, beauty, and resilience, flowers that bloom even in harsh conditions. Finland showed that with the right values, vision, and commitment to human development, any society can bloom no matter how. As we face global challenges, inequality, environmental crisis, technological disruption, social fragmentation, Finland's story offers crucial insights. It reminds us that true progress isn't measured just in GDP or military might, but in human flourishing. It shows that investing in education, character, and culture pays dividends at. The transformation Petrov documented wasn't a miracle. It was a result of deliberate choices, sustained effort, and unwavering commitment to human dignity. Every society has a potential for similar transformation if it has the courage to invest in its people, to build trust and cooperation, to value every citizen's potential. In our age of cynicism and division, the story of Finland's transformation stands as a beacon of possibility. It proves that societies can change, that people can rise above their circumstances, that collective effort guided by noble values can achieve what seems impossible. The land of white lilies teaches us that the greatest revolutions aren't always violent, that the most lasting changes come from within, and that the path to national greatness runs not through dominance over others, but through the development of one's own people. This is the enduring message of Finland's transformation, a message as relevant today as when Petrov first shared it with an astonished world. The story of Finland asks us fundamental questions. What kind of society do we want to build? What values will guide us? How will we develop our human potential? The answers we give will shape not just our present, but our future for generations to come. This script provides an engaging, comprehensive overview of the book's themes, while hooking viewers with a dramatic transformation story. It's structured to maintain interest throughout, while conveying the key lessons and insights from Petrov's work. As we face global challenges, inequality, environmental crisis, technological disruption, social fragmentation, Finland's story offers crucial insights. It reminds us that true progress isn't measured just in GDP or military might, but in human flourishing. It shows that investing in education, character, and culture pays dividends that compound across generations. The transformation Petrov documented wasn't a miracle. It was a result of deliberate choices, sustained effort, and unwavering commitment to human dignity. Every society has a potential for similar transformation if it has the courage to invest in its people, to build trust and cooperation, to value every citizen's potential. In our age of cynicism and division, the story of Finland's transformation stands as a beacon of possibility. It proves that societies can change, that people can rise above their circumstances, that collective effort guided by noble values can achieve what seems impossible. The land of white lilies teaches us that the greatest revolutions aren't always violent, that the most lasting changes come from within, and that the path to national greatness runs not through dominance over others, but through the development of one's own people. This is the enduring message of Finland's transformation, a message as relevant today as when Petrov first shared it with an astonished world. Now, here's what I want you to think about after hearing this incredible story. What if your country invested in character development as much as economic development? What if we measured national success not by military power or GDP, but by literacy rates, trust levels, and citizen happiness? What would happen if we applied Finland's principles to today's challenges? Ask yourself, what would change in your life if your society prioritized human potential over profit? If cooperation replaced cutthroat competition? If every child, regardless of background, had access to world-class education that developed not just their mind but their character? And here's the big question that should keep you up at night. Finland transformed from Europe's poorest nation to one of its most successful in just one generation. One generation. So what's stopping us? What's stopping your country? More importantly, what's stopping you from applying these principles in your own life, your own community,